Welcome to Lesson 76 of Course 2 in Saxon Math. In this lesson we're going to be dealing with complex fractions. We're going to learn how to simplify those in a couple of different ways. Okay, so let's just start with the definition of a complex fraction. A complex fraction is a fraction that contains another fraction in it. So in this case here you've got 15 over 7 1/3. That's a fraction with a fraction in it because 7 1/3 is a fraction. This has got a fraction and a fraction. Fractions over fractions. These are not complex. They do not. They're just normal fractions. So a complex fraction is set up where there's a fraction within a fraction. And we're going to learn how we solve those the easiest way. All right, so a complex fraction contains one or more fractions in the numerator or the denominator. So you see the examples all here. One way to simplify this is to multiply the complex fractions by a fraction name for 1 that makes the denominator 1. The same thing that we do when we multiply by reciprocals when we're trying to balance the, to isolate a variable. So same idea. So if you've got, the 25, this right here, okay, 3/5 over 2/3, what we can do is we can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the bottom one here, which is 3/2. Do 3/2 on top, 3/2 on bottom. And when we do that, these cancel each other out, leaving 1. And then you do 3 times 3 is 9, and 5 times 2 is 10. We end up with 9/10. The other way, if you can keep it straight, and the way which I prefer to do it, is to set it up as a division problem and unstack them, and write them 3/5 divided by 2. And know that you always want to use the reciprocal of the second number. So then we take 3/5 and we just times it by 3 over 2, which is the reciprocal of the second number, and get the same 9/10. To me, that's easier than doing the 1. But it's up to you. Whatever is easy, whatever keeps it straight. I'm going to do it this way here for this lesson because it's new and I want you to learn it. And because so many of you get confused and you want to flip this one here instead of this, and you end up flipping the wrong thing and multiplying it by the wrong reciprocal. So let's take a look at one. So let's do this. How do we simplify this? Well, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to get two fractions on top of each other. So the top one, 25 2/3, we've got to convert that to an improper fraction. So 25 times 3 is 75 plus 2 is, so this is going to be 77 thirds is going to be on top. And in the bottom we got 100. How do we make that a fraction? Well, we just put it over the 1. Isn't 100 really 100 over 1? It is. So now we've got that. Now we can multiply both of them by the 1 to try to make them 1. So to make 100 over 1, we're going to multiply it by 1 over 100. Right? That's going to end up being 1. And then we do the same thing on top that we did on the bottom, times it by 1 over 100, and you're going to end up with 77 over 300. All right? And that's how you do it. There you go, 77 over 300. That would be our answer. Now, a lot of times you're going to have to simplify that, right? We're going to have to make it, in this case here it is, but normally it doesn't work that way. Let's take a look at another one. So here we got 15 over 7 1/3. Let's just do this one together, okay? So first thing we've got to do is what? Turn them both into fractions. So let's go ahead and make our fraction line. 15, how do we make that a fraction? Well, we got 15, we put it over 1. Okay, now it's a fraction rather than a constant of 15. And 7 1/3 is going to be 7 times 3. Multiply these two together is 21, plus the 1 is 22. So you got 22 over 3. Now we've got our two fractions. All right. Now we got to get the denominator to 1. So we're going to multiply it by its reciprocal, which is going to make this all equal 1, because these all cancel out, right? And then do the same thing to the top. All right, so we get 45 over 22 all over 1, which means 45 over 22. And when you take 22 into 45, it goes in twice, which is 44 with 1 left over. So you end up, when you simplify it, you end up with 2 in 1/22. All right, that's That's using the 1. Okay? Let's take another look at another one. We're going to change this one here. You got to change that 8 1/3 to a fraction and then simplify it. Well, the problem you got here is that it doesn't give you two numbers. So you've got to stop and think for a minute. I know that hurts your brain already. It hurts mine when I first learned this too. So here's our division bar. We can do the top one pretty easy. You can take your 83 and 1/3, right? And you can convert that. What does that become? How do you do that? How do you get your 83 and 1/3? Go ahead and see if you can figure that out. How are you going to do your bottom? I'll help you out with the bottom first, right? The first is going to be all over 100, right? Can't we do that? Are we allowed to do that? Sure we are, right? And 83 over 1/3, we just convert the improper fraction. So let's do that. 83 times 3, that's 9. That's 24, plus the 1 is 250. So 250 over 3. All right, can you do it from there? I think you can. You've got to get this bottom denominator to 1, so you got to do that times it by 1 over 100. Times this one 1 over 100, and you're going to get 250 over 300. Now, does 250 over 300, does that simplify? I think it does. I think it simplifies a lot. So you take away a 0, now you got 25 over 30. 5 goes into 25 5 times, and 5 goes into 36 times. So when we get it all said and done, I think our answer to that is 5/6. Hopefully you followed that and you're able to do it yourself. Maybe not. Let's try. Let's see if you can do one more. Okay? So again, change it to a percent to a fraction, then simplify it. Okay, so remember, you got to have your divisor bar. Okay, so do it yourself, see if you can get the answer, and then start the video. Okay, I'm going to start right now taking this here and converting that. It's going to be 25 over 3. I know that. And then I know that I'm going to put that all over 100 over 1. That's it. And then 1 over 100 and 1 over 100. So I get 25 over 300. And now you got to simplify this down. Okay? 5 goes into this. Well, let's just do 25. 25 goes into 300 how many times? There's 1 time, and there's 2 times, 12 times. So we're going to be 1/12. That's going to be our answer. Hopefully that's what you got. They are a little bit tricky. They are not easy to do. You have to stop and think about them for a minute. Let's do this one here, doing it the way that you already know how. Really, before we move on. So normally we do 25 over 3, and that's all over 100 over 1. So you got 25 over 3 divided by 100 over 1. So you could just times it by its reciprocal, 25 over 3 times 1 over 100, and you get that 25 over 300. And then you simplify that down to the 1/12. That's how I like to do it, but I also like doing it the other way, making the denominator into the 1. I think that's easier to see for you people that are brand new and you're learning this concept for the first time. But that's how you solve a complex fraction and make it simpler. There's your problems. Work on those tonight. Submit them to me. Bring your questions. I know you'll have them tomorrow. Practice this. Please go back, watch it again, do it again. Know how to do this, and I appreciate you watching the video. We'll do all of our homework together as a group. Well, not as a group, but at the same time where I can be there and help you tomorrow in class. Thank you so much.